Hey, Chris Maiden here, and welcome to part 17, the penultimate part of Minish Cap. Not including the extra part where I show off what you do after you beat the game. And at least one of the Dooku scrubs will give you this result. It could be any one of the Dooku scrubs. But usually, I just wish it was locked to one of them. Because I always thought that it was locked to the one that sold you bombs in Mount Crinal, but apparently it's not. And yeah, this is the Kindstone shop. Oh good, I actually got lucky and got the variety I wanted this time. Yeah, that's a problem with this guy. He sells you a completely random Kindstone. And I know I've complained about this too much, but they really should have allowed you to buy very specific varieties of Kindstones. And are they really worth 200 rupees when the game shoves so many of them at you? Especially the red ones. A glitch that I couldn't pull off. A glitch in Link's Awakening that I couldn't pull off was the Moldorm Glitch World glitch. What happens is that you go to Tail's Cave with the flippers and go to the boss room. You fall down into the hole while holding up and the button you equipped the rock's feather to. And if you time it just right, Link will jump off the top of the screen. The screen will fade to white, and you'll end up in a glitch world. And then you go through the floor and you'll be able to wander around as much as you want as long as you don't go up a staircase. You can use this glitch to walk through the walls of the game's dungeons, and by doing it you can access the first, second, third, and fourth dungeons in the game. You can't access all of them, unfortunately. It's not like in Link's Awakening. It's not like in Link to the Past where you could access any dungeon from anywhere. Weirdly enough, every chest you open in a glitch world will have the power bracelet. I mentioned that before, but I guess it's because the glitch worlds are coded as the second dungeon. Yeah, it is really annoying getting to this cow. And I thought I was going to be able to fuse Kindstones with it, but apparently not. And when you're wandering around trying to fuse that last Kindstone, it really is better to talk to every single NPC that you could potentially fuse Kindstones with, just to be sure that you don't miss any. Don't just assume that they don't have Kindstone to fuse with you. Because chances are, yeah, he talked as if you haven't beaten the game already. And so now you have to go through the stealth section again. That's fun. Totally not tedious at all. And I showed this again just to show off how annoying this is. It's so tense, this part of it. You want to go early, but you can't because then you might fail it. So now you're back in the Elemental Sanctuary. So, in Link's Awakening, in the room where you get the boomerang, if the room where you get the boomerang is entered by glitching before you get the magnifying glass from an area that isn't a cave, an unusual looking creature will be there instead. It sort of looks like the Guriah, but it moves around slowly like the mimics, and you kill it in the same way. So it's possible that in Link's Awakening, Guriahs were meant to be enemies at one point. I don't know why they don't bring them back as enemies I don't know why they ditch them after Zelda 2. They seem like perfectly fine enemies to me. Do I have to? Yeah, that's another thing that I hate about the hint characters. That they absolutely force you to do stuff that you don't want to do. So they take away your choice. And now you have to sit through the entire intro cutscene of the game all over again. Like, we already know this. Can it at least go by faster? So yeah, this is talking about the backstory of the game, where there was a whole bunch of monsters around, and then the Minish appeared from the sky, and there was a hero before Link, and they gave him a magical sword, and that hero killed all of the monsters. That sounds like a pretty boring Zelda game where you're literally just killing monsters and that's it. I mean, who would ever want to play a Zelda game like that? And this is the part of the intro that we didn't see. Although it should have been obvious from the very beginning because Zelda always has the Triforce in her. And this is why I didn't want to do this. This wouldn't have happened if Eslo had not insisted on me going there. There's absolutely no reason for me to go here. Like, it feels like the plot forces you to do something stupid and unnecessary just to continue with it. See how much faster the split gauge charges up now? I love that. And now you can finally have 4 links. And I love the way that the fourth sword looks when it's fully upgraded. Like, it's got a gold hilt, and the hilt's shaped pretty cool. I think it looks even cooler than the Master Sword, to be honest. And the fourth sword looking like this never happens again. And so now you've got to tediously bring them all back to life, one by one. And why do you have to wait for so long before they talk to you? Like, it just wastes a few seconds of your time unnecessarily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 seconds of my life that I'll never get back. And this is the final dungeon of the game. From this point onwards, you'll never be able to go through normal Hyrule Castle ever again. Not even when you beat the game. And I hate this dungeon. It's so cheap and annoying. And this is such a slow section. You have to be careful not to get hit by the fireballers, and you don't want to get knocked into the pit there. I didn't talk much about these enemies the first time you saw them in Vale Falls. They prevent you from attacking. You can't even use your items when you're like that. They're basically the bubbles of Zelda 1 and Wind Waker. And they take forever to wear off, and that one just respawned. Although, I guess they're not— what? You can't even shrink when you're like that. Bullshit. Why not? But anyways, they're not as bad as the bubbles in Zelda 1 because at least they disappear after they curse you. And they can't attack you while you're in a Minish form. I guess because they're too high up, but because it's a top-down perspective, even if they are floating in the air, you can't really see that. It looks like they're just crawling along the ground. I like the music for this place. Like, it's pretty badass. I like the pipe organ in the background. And originally there was actually planned to be— there's a cut, much more intimidating intro to this. There's a much more intimidating intro to this song. I'm old and I would only hold you back. So it kind of makes sense that you don't have an escort mission where you try to get the king out of this place, because there's so many different ways that you could get hit here. How would you ever be able to complete an escort mission and get everyone out of there? Like, it sure would suck if the dungeon was destroyed with all of those people in it. Speaking of which, there was this subplot earlier that I haven't talked about yet, where people would go back to the castle, people that worked there, they would go back into the castle after the king had been possessed by Vati, and they wouldn't come back. And the brown-haired guy who's in the inn, he actually tells you that he found monsters. Oh, really, Eslo? Really? I would have never figured that out. Thanks. Thanks for interrupting me and make me have to do it all over again. I like to try and be cool about it and make it so that I reflect the cannonballs with my spin attack that happens after you split up. But I didn't want to risk it. Because you have to be precise with the timing of that, or else you'll just get hit. These puzzles they're not really that hard, to be honest. I'm actually pretty good at them. I remember having trouble with the second one, but the first one's pretty easy. You just gotta turn all of the tiles red. And if you fail it, you can just step on the switch right next to you to make it... Like, I have a lot harder of a time with this puzzle. Because it's bad enough that you have to navigate around a cramped area. But now you have to make sure that the trap is in exactly a certain position, or you're guaranteed to get hit by it. Yeah, I decided to venture out of the dungeon to get myself healed. I figured why not? I mean, the fairy fountain's so close by anyways, and I don't want to waste a potion or anything. Actually, I don't think there are regular Great Fairy Fountains in this game, because A Link to the Past, you had 3 different types of fairies. You had the regular fairies you could put in bottles. You had great fairies like Venus and the one that upgraded your shield. Oh, I hate that! And then you had the normal great fairies that would restore all of your hearts when you walked up to them. This game seems to combine the normal great fairies with the ones that give you item upgrades. But they're also very rare. Although, I don't really see the point of having the normal Great Fairy Fountains to begin with. Because you can basically accomplish the same thing with Fairy Fountains. You just walk into a whole bunch of fairies and restore all your health that way. And they're even better because if you want to get fairy in a bottle, you can. You can't do that with Great Fairy Fountains. I hate these things. Why do they have to be everywhere? Why do they have to prevent you from making a screen transition? This dungeon is really annoying. It has the most dark nuts out of any point in the game. At first, I fight it normally. Until I realized, oh yeah, that attack. Well, you know what? Forget it. There's actually a way to cheese this by just using the Great Spin attack. And while it's easy to hit his shield a whole bunch of times and waste time, you can actually deal with the dark notes very easily by just hitting their sides over and over again while Great Spin attacking into them. Why do I have to push it in a very specific way? Why can't I push it from the right side too? At least this dark room isn't completely pitch black, so you're not forced to have the lantern out. Because equipping the lantern would be tedious because you only have 2 item slots and you have to go into your menu in order to do it. At least there's a lot of sparks here that you can turn into fairies whenever you want. Like, that's something I'll compliment. It's very easy to lose a lot of health here, but at least you can easily get your health back. This puzzle is no trouble whatsoever. I don't even think you can get hit with the cannonballs. That's never happened to me. I don't think you're at the right... I think you're too high up or something. And the sword beam makes short work of these guys. Usually the moblins are pretty annoying to deal with because you attack their spear and it knocks them back and they don't get hurt. And they charge at you a whole bunch. Oh, bullshit! Why is that fire bar there? It's in the most inconvenient of places. I thought for sure that I was standing at the southernmost part that I could possibly stand to avoid it. But because of the top-down perspective, it's kind of hard to see that you're standing as south as you possibly can. I don't think you can... Well, actually, no, I don't think you can make the clone link disappear by walking too south. Because you'll just walk into the wall. But why do there have to be so many fire bars here? And weirdly enough, there's a lot of enemies from the overworld here. Like the foxes that steal money from you in the Trilby Highlands. And the moblins, although there seem to be stronger varieties of the moblins you already fought. And same goes with the Keatons, which are like these things. I don't really see the difference between the stronger and weaker varieties, though. Maybe they deal more damage or something? I don't know, they go down easily to me. I mean, your sword is so strong at this point. You can two-shot these guys. But yeah, I love the song that plays here. Like, I've always been a huge fan of pipe organ music. I think it's pretty cool. Oh, that was pointless. I was expecting hearts, not worthless arrows. Usually getting arrows is pretty worthless in this game because you're always going to have enough, and you don't use them nearly as much. Although, I guess it is good as a failsafe to have the arrows get replenished there, because you're going to need them in this dungeon. Like, I do like the fact that there's a whole bunch of different puzzles that you can complete here, but it's not nearly as good as Ganon's castle in Link to the Past, because it's less about the puzzles and more about the really annoying combat. Why do I have to fight these guys again? They're so annoying. They're a lot worse than... A good way to deal with them is to throw the bomb at them. They even get hurt by the bomb being thrown at them. The bomb doesn't even have to blow up. But they take... it's not like you can cheese them like in Link to the Past where you just attack them with jars. And this is the worst room in the game. This is the single most horribly designed room in the entire game, and probably the entire franchise. How could the developers not have anticipated that you'd have remote bombs at this point? They're the best bombs in the game. Who in their right mind would not have remote bombs by this point? Who? And it's completely impossible to complete this mandatory puzzle with the remote bombs. So, you try to use those things, but you'd knock them into the pits. And even if you didn't, you'd throw them across the pit, and then they'd blow up before you had the time to get the breakable. So I had to go all the way back to Minish Woods, cutting out a whole bunch of time just to get back here. Wonderful. Wonderful. And even when you do have the bombs, look at how tedious this is. It's such an annoying timing minigame. Why is it that when you place a bomb on that moving platform, it just sinks through it like it's nothing? Why? That's such horrible design. Who would make it like that? Why can't I just stand on the moving platform while it's moving and place a bomb at the northernmost side of it? Why do I have to do this stupid timing minigame? It's not fun. I know it's supposed to be a hard dungeon, but that is just frustrating. And it's horribly designed because they should have accounted for the possibility that you had the remote bombs at that point. They're the best bombs in the game. Why wouldn't you have them? But anyways, we'll be completing the final dungeon of the game in the next part.